It's Around the Mage Table, episode 31, the podcast for the rest of us. This is a surprise episode. I didn't actually expect us to have an episode this week because I figured we'd take it a little easy. We have a trivia episode coming up. We'll get to more of that later. But as Scrap said in the pre-show, there is some tea to talk about. So I'm looking forward to discussing that with y'all. But there's some other things going on, so we'll talk about that. Before we get into that, though, Shawnee, you just got back from Buffalo. Now, everyone can see, I think you usually wear your Bills hat for the show, is that right? Especially during football season, I'm sure.
Yeah, yep.
So you want to tell us a little bit about your escapades?
It was a great time. I went away with my best friend Broccoli. The Bills hammered the Niners. It was like 2 feet of snow in the stadium. It was exactly everything I hoped for my first time going to Buffalo. And I got down to Ohio to go to the Football Hall of Fame, and I went to Cooperstown, and I drove like 3,700 miles in 5 days. It was great.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I don't know how you do that.
Sounds interesting.
How many hours?
By the way, interesting.
Yeah, sorry, go on, technique.
Yeah. Question.
Yeah.
Is your name actually Broccoli?
Yeah.
His last name is... So his first name is Sean. His last name is Broccoli, spelled B-R. It doesn't matter. Sean Broccoli, man. He's awesome.
What are the first 7 digits of his social security number?
I couldn't tell you, but his last name
Canadian? He probably doesn't have one.
Spell his last name. It's like broccoli, like Brockley. So broccoli,
okay.
not broccoli.
He's not related to the Broccoli family of the James Bond fortunes.
No. But he, we had a great time. We drove basically every day was like 8 hours, some direction or other.
Is he Canadian as well? So neither of you were really worried about Thanksgiving?
Not at all. We had a good time in America for Thanksgiving. We went to a Mexican restaurant in Portland, Maine, and they had a really good meal for us.
Cool. All right.
Sounds like a good time, man. I wish I was there.
Scrap,
I wish you guys were there too.
Well, you said you missed us. I didn't believe you. Scrap, how was your Thanksgiving?
Uneventful.
You saw Wicked, didn't you?
Oh, I saw it a couple days after that. Yeah. Me and my girlfriend went and saw it. Oh, I saw it before that. I can't remember. It's been a while since we've done an episode.
I know. It's strange and unfamiliar. We're navigating uncharted waters.
I also watched the rest of Arcane, and I hated it.
I do remember your...
Don't spoil that. I'm looking forward to watching that.
You can't go on our Discord then, because she literally just like set a fucking bag of poop on fire.
I don't read anything like that.
I'm sorry.
You start going on about drama shit. I'm like, scroll down.
That's fair. But we'll talk when you finish it.
Okay. And Technique, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was great, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just shocking dogs and riding on off-roaders.
I'm going to keep it short since you mentioned it, so the audience doesn't think I'm shocking dogs.
Short Technique. Okay? It's a long story.
The shortest version. Took 2 dogs to a large farm for the vacation. Trained them on electric fence, by the way. Electric fence collars. One of them had the right collar. The other one had a collar that was programmed to work with these like location rocks around the property. Anyway. Dog got zapped a few times when she didn't know what the hell for. I felt really bad about it. Dog had huge anxiety. Whole weekend was destroyed for the dog, but she didn't run away, so problem solved.
Safe and sound.
Story.
She's just fucking shivering in a place.
Yep.
The whole weekend.
Dude.
It's fine.
Well, that's awesome.
That's a good story.
My Thanksgiving was dominated by my sister just bought a house, and so she had like all this family over. It was like 30 people. They asked me to cook a whole bunch of dishes, and I warned my sister like 3 times before, and I was like, because she has like 3 ovens in the house, so it's gonna be fine. But it's like, you need to understand that like I need an hour and a half. You've asked me to make this stuff. Please make sure that like I have my hour and a half with at least 2 ovens. I needed 2 ovens, right? And the long and short of it is that I didn't get my ovens, and my food was taking forever to fucking cook because everyone kept opening the oven because they wanted to shove other things in there. So I was getting trying not to like lose it, but I was getting a little annoyed. But got to see Moana 2, so that was cool, you know.
Wait, was Moana 2 terrible? I heard it was bad.
No, so reviews are bad for it. I was very anxious because it was here's our Disney corner, by the way.
Disney corner.
I was anxious because
we have a Disney corner.
they originally planned the show to be a Disney Plus series.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And this was at the time when the CEO of Disney was like really trying to push Disney Plus, and rightfully so.
Yeah. Keep it short, Frank.
So Bob Iger came back into the CEO and he said, "Fuck this shit. I'm going to be able to make this a movie." Made it a movie. Yep. I was very anxious about that. Like, oh, it's going to be bad because they just like chopped it up and put it in a theater. But then the soundtrack came out, which to me is everything because my kids want to listen to it on repeat. The soundtrack has one good song. Everything else sounded like shit. It was just like, what? The Maui song especially. Yep. So I go to the movie, low expectations, was pleasantly surprised. It is actually pretty good. Audiences are loving it because there's a thing called CineScore and it's getting an A on it, which means that everyone loves it.
Well, kids probably love it because it's bright and flashy.
Well, yeah, the animation's gorgeous regardless. Like, you're not going to get that wrong. Yeah. But the music was much better in the
AI.
movie. I don't know.
Oh, they responded to reviews, probably the soundtrack, maybe. They like remix stuff.
No, I think it's just like it needed the visual element to enjoy it. Yeah. But anyways, point is like it's like the biggest movie Thanksgiving movie opening ever, way more than Frozen 2, which was a huge disaster.
That's why Bob Iger put that. You know,
he's Bob Iger for a reason. They brought him back for a reason. But anyways, that's enough Disney corner. Okay.
Does he also own Cinema Zone or whatever the hell you said?
Cinema Score? No. That is
Cinema Score.
That is something that is just it's kind of like a Rotten Tomatoes, but it's only done after people leave the theaters.
Speaking of cinnamon core, my wife made some chili tonight and put some cinnamon core in it.
We're gonna have a short episode.
We have two topics that I want to spend some time in, but there are some things we should, as a news source for some people, we should spend some time on. Okay.
For other people.
Yeah. So I'm going to first actually start with last week. Last episode, I should say. We did a poll, right? And the question was, are people as hyped for player housing as we expected them to be? And I am actually very surprised to see these results. You guys can see them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
120, how many votes?
So 128 votes.
Wow.
People
popular.
People like us, dude. I mean, we're not the big dogs, right? But we're playing in a space. We're carving our own niche for the the podcast for the rest of us, the 99. Yeah, the podcast for the rest of us, the 99%. We only get 128 votes. So I'm a little worried, but that's okay. No. So all jokes aside, only 24% are really pumped. I'm genuinely surprised about it.
I was saying that last episode I was like, I feel meh, and I feel like most of our viewers are kind of like, they're more like hanging around the dungeon space, maybe not into like High Mythic Plus, but like more invested in that space, right?
I want to give 2 cents that I think are right along the lines of her little penny there.
Yeah.
This game revolves around reward.
Stupid.
And there is no there's no item rewards. There's no power rewards.
You don't know what it is.
We don't know.
We don't know.
They've already said they're not going to link player power to
but it's still
the house.
But you could still get a cool reward.
I wonder if it's skewed by just like generalized podcast viewers, like people who watch like all the WoW podcasts.
Let's do a follow-up poll and say how many people agree with technique.
How many people?
That's it.
Just a problem.
Oh my god.
I like the comments here are talking about like I'm being cautiously optimistic, and like for example, Good Things 7317, longtime viewer as we know, high hopes, low expectations. So I think there's a lot of people who are worried they'll mess this up. But
which they've earned that.
Yeah. But considering it's like a 52 to 48% split of people who are for versus kind of not, that is still surprising, because I could understand 60 to 70% of people are saying like, okay, I'll engage with it, it'll be fun, but to have people 35, the largest being meh, that's surprising to me. So
that's what I voted, because that's how I feel. Like did
you vote on this?
Yeah, I voted
Scrap,
on it.
you don't watch our podcast. How did you even find this?
Maybe I didn't, but if I were to vote on it, I would have voted meh.
The worst fan ever.
Pathological liar.
Absolutely.
No reason to lie. Just like I voted on it. Yeah.
By the way,
stop technique. Stop with the camera.
He's turned his filter on, so
I can't handle it. It's
happy
too
with
funny.
himself. Okay, let's get into the other news. We had a hot fix / whatever, just fixes on November 26th.
Tuning pass, we call it.
I love tuning pass. Thank you. I love this right here. This little infographic.
Great.
So I didn't even plan on bringing up the meta right now because I think it's still too soon. But
we do it every episode.
I know, but Enhance got nerfed. Proc got nerfed. Has that impacted their meta stats at all? Not at all. Fire, big buff to Frostfire. That doesn't seem to have helped them at all. Ellie got...
Do you still not take Frostfire as a fire mage?
I don't know that answer, but I would just say that the fact that both specs got nerfed and they're still the lowest played mage speaks volumes. Despite the fact that Arcane is now F tier still. Fucking Christ.
Sorry.
Frost got buffed. What?
Yeah, Ellie getting buffed is shocking to me because I thought they were doing pretty well. Also.
Oh, here, Scrap. It says right here. The you from Fire, you want to switch from some Fury, whatever, to Frostfire. But yeah, I mean, like this really, you got nerfed, Scrap. Survival got nerfed. That didn't seem to really impact you too much.
It's more of a raid nerf. I feel like it was more of a single target nerf, and it's very minor. It was an adjustment that I think
it
was
seems 1.5 overall. Oh, pack leader versus. Oh, that's actually, come on, Scrap.
Pack leader you don't take in Mythic Plus, so.
Oh, that's right. You get your stupid
except in certain high, like where you can plan around pools and stuff, like very high keys potentially.
Oh, this is why Frostfire Fire didn't get a Wii buff. It just got a single target buff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, whatever. But yeah, nothing seems to have changed the meta. So while this, I like the idea of like delicate touches, right? I like the idea that they don't like nuke something into the ground. And Enhance has been, teetering back down. But I think the thing with Enhance, from what I read as I try to gear my Enhance Shaman, is that it's all about like the ceiling being really high. Like you're not really always going to see an Enhance Shaman just blow it out of the water. Technique, cut it the fuck out.
It's so distracting to me.
But anyways, just wanted to touch on those. Do you guys think there's any other
chart?
Yeah, I do. Any other things they need to do other than buff Arcane?
No. I mean, I've been doing a lot of pugs and stuff, like a ton of pugs, and I feel like there's no class that I see far and away, DPS class far and away above the pack, like not consistently
at the pug level, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
at the pugging 12s level, yeah.
You know what I heard last night while I was in Discord, or maybe it was the night before. Someone complaining about how good Ret Pallies are and how like
it was Phoenix.
Yeah,
he got demolished by Ret
They
Pallies.
are good. They are good.
Get it out
right?
of his system.
I don't want to take that away from him, but like. That's been like since week 1. Where have you been, dude?
No, yeah, I don't know. They've been pretty good, like consistently good. I haven't seen that many that are doing obscenely well. I have seen a couple, but I've seen just as many who are doing like poorly, like straight up poorly. We had that one guy in our
also coming from a shaman.
He pugs a lot. He pugs a lot too. So, but I think
Phoenix is a shaman for our viewers at home.
Ret's been like not at the tippity top. It's the most played, but it's not
the most
played.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if it's
okay.
Well, the thing is, if it's the most played, then there's going to be people of all skill levels playing it too. It brings it down a little bit.
Can I take a sidetrack here real quick?
Maybe.
I got in a little bit of an argument with someone in our comment section on the YouTube last episode.
Did you know?
They were complaining.
You beating up fans?
No, they were complaining. I just want to know from your guys' perspective, and you can comment this in the comment section, especially if you're the person.
Am I the asshole on
Reddit? Not that I'm the asshole. I just want to know if I was being fair in what I was trying to tell him. So I think he's a warrior, right? He's a Fury warrior, from what I understand. Okay.
Okay.
And he's complaining
don't pick the phrase. You pull up his thing. So.
Well, I don't want to like jump around all my web pages looking for this shit.
The problem is you're angling for another long comment if you misrepresent his.
I will do my best. I'll do my best. I'll try to actually pull it because I remember posting it in Discord too. No, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. Anyways, point is,
that was a novel.
He's complaining about pugs, right, and how it's the worst, and it's Blizzard's fall, and blah blah. And I pulled data because he said he was a warrior. And I pointed out to him that warriors were like the 4th most brought DPS class amongst all DPS classes. And that, like, of course, warriors are timing 17s, all that stuff. And then he just kind of like started blaming this on the devs, saying like, well, the devs need to fix it because I can't get into pugs. And my response was effectively, I think everyone is having trouble getting the pugs as a DPS. That is being a DPS problem, right?
I've said that a couple times on the podcast that it's not, a specific DPS problem. It's an all DPS problem.
Yeah.
It's especially a melee DPS problem because there's a very heavy melee meta.
Unless
right
I'm
now.
looking for group members, bro, I'll take you.
Well, he was looking
because you're a warrior and I'm already that.
Some of his complaint was just, not that I'm taking
Thank
side,
you for helping me, Shawnee.
but was that he feels warriors, he was not getting taken because he's like,
utility.
I don't have utility that other classes do. He's
That's
like, I don't have a
true.
B-res and I don't have a hero. And he is correct, but like in the way he was putting it, the only way to fix it is to give every class either B-res or hero, but like, some of the top things taken like rogues don't have either. Like, so, it's
like my comment to him was if they gave him both, if they gave him both hero and bloodlust, which no class has if I remember correctly, right? It would only see a slight rise in uptick to invites. Because
it depends because right now you would, but the problem is there's a heavy prot pally and resto shaman meta, so you don't need that out of a DPS.
That's true.
Currently.
Disc is now the meta, but
it's on the rise.
Point is, like, yes, there's going to be, let's say, 1 out of 5 groups that is 4 out of 5 filled, and that last spot is I need a hero, I need a battle res or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And yes, you'll be automatically eliminated. And again, I'm going to be honest, like, not even every group that's looking for that 5th out of the 5 spots is even paying. How many times have we plugged and forgot to get a hero or forgot to get a battle res, right?
Because we're dumb.
Yeah, we are dumb, but so is the general pop, right? Like, we're all dumb. So, like, my point was that, anyways, I just want to know, like, how can you not see that warriors are being taken? They're being taken at a very high click rate. I even pointed out because he brought Mage up, and I said, Fury Warriors are being brought more to dungeons than both Frost and Arcane combined, right?
I would rather take a Fury Warrior than any kind of mage if I had hero covered, because Fury Warriors, you only have to press, and I was a Fury main for a very long time, you have to press like 3 fucking buttons to do your rotation. I know that if you have 2 working hands, you can play Fury Warrior. Like, that's all you need. So I'm like, anybody could play this. Meanwhile, a mage, it's like, you have...
They're fingerless cretins, mages, so...
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just that there's a higher skill ceiling with that class, and it's a lot easier to mess up than warrior. So if I'm just like, dude, this guy's got a high ass score, like I'll take a warrior, man.
It's astonishing how many people chase mage not knowing that there's like so much contingent on your DPS being so high. Anyways,
I guess they're not regular puggers.
I'm not gonna disagree with any of the argument there, but I would like to see like Battle Shout could be a better buff, You've
it's great in a melee centric group, and that is the meta.
But then you have Shaman who have Bloodlust and they have Wind Fury now, which is like better.
Well, you have Battle Shout and Rally.
Okay, Rally's not regular.
Good,
people aren't using it often enough. I agree.
Neither is Hero. What are you talking about?
No, but you need Hero. You don't need Rally and Cry.
I
think Rally and Cry is
very
good.
The high end levels, I'm sure they really appreciate that.
I think Rally and Cry could use a small buff. I think actually and I'm not logged into regular WoW right now, but I think that the talent that makes it strong should just be passive. Like, just make it that.
Do people always take that talent?
Nobody takes that talent.
Oh, okay. Then it sucks. I don't know.
No, it doesn't suck. It's just not worth taking.
I think you were wrong, Frank. And
point is,
I read
we
all
continue
your
to all stand that it is pretty healthily balanced right now.
I do want to stand a little bit with him that as somebody who main warrior for a long time, as a DPS, it is frustrating. And a lot of the reason why I switched to survival is just because survival can just do more. And I enjoy the playstyle similarly.
But you don't even bring out your hero pet. What are you talking about? You can do more.
No, well, because I'm always running with a fucking shaman, man.
So. Are you okay, let's put a number on it.
No, so I have better defensives. I have better utility, like knockups and things like that. I can trap.
But that's not that's not what people are bringing you into the group for.
That's what I enjoy.
Sure, but that's not his point.
Warriors do have a lot of control, though. They have Shockwave. They have
Thunderhammer.
There's stun.
I haven't played since Shockwave was
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They have.
I think hunters have more generally. Like, I think that's a fair argument, but what I'm saying, Scrap, is that's not what people considering when they're bringing you into groups.
But I sympathize with this viewer because Warrior I feel like Warrior is left out a little bit. Like, a lot of people play Warrior.
They are taken more than every hunter class or spec.
They're having a good season. I will say I did gloss over how this guy was talking to you, and I think he was a dick. But I do agree with his plight. As somebody who played Warrior for a very long time.
If you're being taken over every single hunter spec, right, you are not in a bad position to be in pugs.
Because it's more because it's more complicated to play. Because Fury Warrior is doing a lot of damage, and it's fucking easy to play.
Taken into groups, though.
That's why I'm taking them in groups. That's why he's wrong currently. I'm saying he is wrong currently, but I do agree with his plight broadly.
Okay.
Good then.
We answered the question though up front is like, hey, if your DPS is going to be rough, especially if you're not like the best DPS on the planet, everyone's going to take the person they think is going to carry them. Anyway,
100%.
Sure, and that's more likely Warrior than Hunter, apparently. All right.
I think so.
December 17th is not far away. We will have a new episode before then, but it will not be related to any news because we're going to be doing the trivia episode. That'll be like our holiday special. Guys, actually, speaking another sidetrack, we're almost at 1 year of podcasts.
Yeah.
When we come back for our first, post 11.7 spec or patch.
Post Malone 7.
Yeah, that'll be 1 year of podcasts. That's wild. Can't believe people are watching
some kind of event.
What? Yeah, we'll do some event. Some giveaway.
Some kind of event.
But Siren Owl will be out. I don't think this is really going to be a game changer. We've already talked a lot about it, so I'm not going to go into it any further. Plunderstorm is confirmed for January 14th, Scrap.
Yes.
That's how you know that the patch is dead when Plunderstorm comes out. I know you said, I know you're swearing by, who is it, James's prediction that'll be March?
James told me that the new season isn't dropping till March. I don't know his source. I don't know how reliable that is. But I am going to recycle that information to the viewers and just...
For those...
Here's how I know it's not the case.
James is a person that jumps off a thunder bluff to end his hardcore character.
Yeah.
Too soon.
I don't think we can listen to him.
I think it's like February 18th or something like that, right?
So
that is when the patch will be out. No, they'll bring it out at the end of the patch.
No, they won't. I'm saying I believe James before I believe you.
I can't even begin to comprehend how disrespectful that is.
I based on nothing.
We founded this whole fucking thing together, and this guy just comes in, jumps off Thunder Bluff, and you take his word for it.
He was very confident when he told me it.
Off of no fucking evidence, just confidence. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. It was the way he said it.
December, new trading post means new month means new trading post. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. I don't care about that. But you need to just tell me, Scrap. Like, what should I be getting out of my trading post this month?
Skip past this. I don't care about that.
Skip.
That's fine.
Skip. No, he looks cool. Scrap.
It's cool.
This is Snugglefin.
You can't say skip. This is the reward, by the way. This is like the reward for it.
Yeah, it's cute. Actually, you know what? One thing about that, I love how they give it the pause because on a lot of like Morgan pandas and hooved guys, Tauren, you don't get shoes, but you do with this, so it's kind of cool. So I hope that's something they continue with design-wise.
Apparently, Discord is doing something for North American players only, where you can get a
you get a quest or something. I don't know.
Get that crown that no one's gonna ever wear.
The
earmuffs.
Cubicle crawl, Blood Elf here, right?
It was very strange that they have the purple wings on a guy in a business suit, and then the blue wings on a chick with a thong. I don't know why Wowhead is just showing me that. Scroll past it. I don't do the wings. This is it. The Christmas stuff.
So
I love this shit.
Big deal about the earmuffs because in the past when they've done stuff like this, it always like made you bald, but these do not. So that's cool.
Oh yeah, I should try them on my characters.
All
but yeah, this is the shit, dude. I love this.
Okay, remind me. So last time they did it, they only had like daggers
only
or something?
One-handers.
Or one-hander?
Yeah, it was only one-handers. I think
so they didn't have the
swords.
mace. The mace looks fucking, Christmassy, of course.
So good.
They didn't have the shield, which okay.
It's fine. Passable.
But now they have two-handers as well, is that right?
Yeah, big two-handed candy cane sword. And look at the bottom of the staff, it's a snow globe.
Oh, that looks cool.
I've been rocking this already. I'm obsessed. I love Christmas shit. So that's the good stuff. Well, you heard it here.
Is this a buy or sell trading post?
Have I ever said sell to the trading post?
I'm so angry I didn't claim my trading post tendies last month.
It was you're never gonna wear that.
I know, but I lost. I think don't you lose the tendies when you don't open the box in time?
Oh, I don't know. I've never done it.
I need to go and look. Okay.
I'm so broke on tendies all the time forever now.
All right.
It sucks.
Last little bit of news that I want to talk about, and I just want to kind of, because I know none of us are these types of players, but have you guys been following at all the Felcycle secret game going on?
No, this is like to get the Mountain Dew bike, but without Mountain Dew.
It's the green version of it, I think, instead of the purple version of it.
I think this is a dumb-looking mount, personally.
Sure, but
I think
let's put that aside
cool.
for a second, right? I never could do this myself because I don't think I have the patience for it, right?
But this is like the new puzzle mount?
Yeah, it's like a super puzzle, right?
Okay. Gotcha.
And so from my understanding, the way it started is there was the guest relation quest, which took like fucking forever to do. And then once you did it, you got like this hollow key. It would give you a little clue that in Northrend, where the Tusk are or something, you would see these wisps that would align from the bird's eye view into a constellation that would be referred to as Crater, which led you to Ungora Crater, where Link, the Lincoln's quest or whatever from Original Classic, where he would normally be, but he's not there now because of Cataclysm. And you would see, I guess that's where you found the key maybe. But anyways, like I'm so happy they continue to do this, despite the fact that I never fucking do these things.
This isn't for me, but I like it.
Yeah, so there's 12 torches they have to light. They've effectively lit 9 of them so far. I'm seeing if I can get a picture of it. But I just I know as 4 of us who don't do this, this has to take one dev's resources quite a bit, right? To reference quests from the past, to pull they lead you to the Karazhan catacombs which was from Legion, and you had these only people that were doing the artifact quests could go in there. And then they have this beautiful little, I love that it's just sitting there like it's a showroom taunting people. 12 light lanterns that need to be lit up, and of course all the fun that goes into that. This is a lot of work. And we've complained and complained and complained how the devs' time isn't, they didn't do a great job on the opening screen, right?
They still haven't fixed that shit.
I don't think they intend to. But the question is, this is obviously a lot of time. But I'm totally okay with this. I want them to continue doing this, and I don't want it obviously to come at a cost, but
yeah, no, they do this once an expansion, right?
No, I'd say maybe every other patch.
Every other?
Something.
No, right? Not every other patch. They do the mount puzzle once an expansion-ish.
I don't have enough data to challenge that, so.
I enjoy little stuff like that throughout the game. It's not for me, but it's really cool that other people are into shit like that.
But this is really convoluted to the point where I keep thinking back to when, for example, the what's Anchorage, you had to open the gates and there was all this huge quest line to just be the person that gets the ring the gong. Part of me wants to say only one person should get this, right? Is that wouldn't that be you're the person that solved it and so you get to ride away on the bike?
It is tricky when they do stuff like this because it's the people who are in a Discord trying to solve all this shit are going to get them out, and there's going to be people who just look up how to do it and get them out, and they get the same mount. But I don't know if there's a better way to do that.
Even looking this stuff up though, there's a huge journey involved with it.
Even doing it, you can still feel the adventure even if you're just following a guide.
Because there's a part of it. There's a part of it where you're not allowed to go to progress on it unless you have the detective title. So there's this Dalaran survivor right here who says okay, here I'll read it. Where's their quote? Oh, I think I witnessed a crime, or at least a criminal. Can you tell me about it? It's no, sorry. I'd rather speak to a detective.
That's so fun.
And so you only can do it unless you obtain the detective title. And then, of course, they talk to you. Right?
Yeah. I do love this.
So good.
I want this stuff to be... it would be cool if this stuff was more engaged in the main storyline, so it's maybe for more casual player quest enjoyers like me. But I'm glad that it's here for the people who are really into this stuff.
And I think if they did that, people would be complaining, well, the storyline is kept behind this, not
gated story, but maybe side story, like learn about this character or this area or something. There's a little bit of something collecting the signs.
You very well may be missing out on something that's really... I haven't read through all of it because I don't even have the patience to read it all, but what I did read was amazing.
It's cool. Yeah, it's really cute.
But there's references to Alice in Wonderland and of course the Link stuff, and you have this torch toy that you have to keep activating to see the locks and whatnot.
I started that. Yeah.
Okay. 2 major topics today. Now, Scrap, I know you know one of them, and I know you're excited to talk about it, okay? We haven't talked to the other two about it yet.
Bitch,
I'm not even sure Shawnee knows about it. The other, what would you rather talk about first? Do you want to save that for last, Scrap, or do you want to go ahead and get into it now?
Well, what was the other topic?
I wanted to revisit the conversation about tank tuning that was happening in the beta.
No, I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about the other thing.
Well, we're going to talk about it. So do you want to talk about it and get it out of the way? Or
when are we going to talk about hardcore? We're not going to talk about hardcore?
That'll be your closing segment, the deaths of hardcore.
Okay, fine. Okay. Do the tank tuning first.
All right, let's go in. Okay, I just want to revisit this. Okay, so I'm gonna read the 6 points that they had, and I just want to say, like, because this has been a topic of conversation about kind of why people aren't enjoying this season as much. By the way, the numbers show that the number of keys being completed is not as good as the Dragonflight numbers were. They're close, but not as good, and they're kind of falling off. And of course, I think with PoE 2 coming out this week, like it's just gonna die off almost entirely. So I'm wondering if that has anything to do with the fact that it's this season and everything that everyone's been complaining about with season 1, or is it just because they moved the difficulty up, which we've argued isn't as much as we thought it would be, but more people are happy just running M0s, and that is why. Does anyone have care to take a guess?
I mean, I have a guess. I think the jump from 11s to 12s is incredibly steep, and like people who are able to +2 11s, it's like it's really hard to get into 12s. It's like really hard to complete them. So most people are kind of like, oh well, here's my limit. You know, there's not.
Yeah, but do you think they stopped doing keys altogether?
Yeah.
Well, you tell me, Shawnee.
I've got all the things.
And Frank.
Yeah.
Like,
if there's no upgrade reward available to me, and I don't feel like putting in the 10 times additional effort to do a 12 for
it's not 10 times
point.
Well, the rewards.
What's the actual
good.
Increase from 11 to 12 in challenge versus?
In challenge it's immense, but you don't get any more
reward. It was
reward.
30. It's now down to about 20. Jump.
20 what? Percent
jump.
increase?
Yeah.
But you also
11 to 13 was like a 54% increase, which again, that is probably now like a 40 something percent.
Because the increase in damage and health and shit is that much doesn't necessarily mean it's that much harder. I think it's a lot harder to get.
It is because you're also losing the affix, so there's even
especially
more.
Pug a group and succeed. But there's also like holidays. So like, are you comparing Dragonflight numbers?
Yes, that is a part of it.
Yeah, holidays.
But the trend is almost identical.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's my take. Is that there's like a stop, But go on, Shane.
I haven't been playing quite as much. It's not as I don't feel like pugging a ton, and then everyone I play with is like kind of off doing stuff. So if everyone's like, let's do a key that I like playing with, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But otherwise, I'm kind of like in that part of the season where like, I don't want to beat my head into a wall.
Right.
But I don't know. Holidays, whatever. It's winter. I think it's a mixture of stuff. Like,
hold on. I want to be clear though. It's not the decline, because the decline is identical to Dragonflight. I say identical. Yeah. It's close, right? It's more of, I would have thought that the War Within would have brought more people in because, like, there's some good track records coming from Dragonflight. Hero Towns were supposed to be exciting. Now, we did talk about hype not being there, so that's part of it too. But I would have thought we would have kept a steady, if not increasing, amount of keys being done going into the War Within, right? Especially with new dungeons coming out, almost every single one of them except for Necrotic and Mist were like, big changes. And like, I just thought we'd see more of people playing. That isn't the case. And so one of it could be, well, the War Within just wasn't as popular as Dragonflight was going to be. Okay, that could be it. It could be the 11 to 12 jump, right? Of course.
Yeah.
It could be that tanks and healers are having a hard time, which is where I was going to lead into this point, right?
Oh, okay.
So let's just real quick go over this, and I want to kind of see, like, did they succeed at what they attempted to do, okay? So the first point was tanks will take more damage overall, but shouldn't die significantly more often. In my experience,
it wiped out.
False.
Yeah. So in my experience, I think this is somewhat true, right? Like, there's definitely, it feels like that, but there are also times, and there was a clip, I'm not gonna be able to find it to post to show you guys, but there was a clip of someone who was like, oh, and by the way, prop pallies, meta, not necessarily because of defensives, but they're meta right now. And they're running into a pack with an enforcer and Grim Batal. The enforcer is the one that enrages quickly. And literally like one swing and he's dead. And it was like a 12, I think, right? Nothing too insane.
He didn't have any defenses?
He used wings. He used wings, which gives him like a 30% health increase, right?
I mean, I haven't seen that in a 12 where somebody just gets hit once by an enforcer and dies.
It happened, right? It was a recorded video.
I believe it.
Yeah. But we've even seen it in our own keys where Tech runs in or Lithium runs into the second pack of Siege, right?
Raw bearing, we were calling it.
Well, no, he there have been times where he has been bear and he just gets deleted within a millisecond, right? Boop, dead.
Yeah, but he's going in raw. He doesn't have any stuff up, so he's just a raw bear and dies instantly.
But I think the key I want to hold on to this is shouldn't die significantly more often. So obviously they will die more often, but is this because of the damage they're taking overall? And I know our immediate response is to go to this is a failure, right? But the truth is that outside of those little blips, which can be fixed hopefully when they go into season 2, I do feel like it isn't that much significant more tank deaths, right? Technique, I mean, you're the resident expert on this.
I'll say that I have to be a lot more careful, specifically on pull, when tanking.
But that's good gameplay, don't you think?
And I'm lucky that as a warrior I have a cheat death because it's on cooldown all the time.
The only example I can think of where it is out of hand is some of the tank smashers. So Edna, and Edna is usually just because the healers still don't know that dispel mechanic. But your brother Haemon, who was on his Demon Hunter, was tanking Dawnbreaker's first boss.
When I'm thinking about answering your question, I'm thinking about shit that is not a mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't get a heal. Yeah. I should die. Or, I pulled too much, But when I charge into just about anything on 11 or 12, I have to have some sort of defensive up.
Don't you think that's good? A good gameplay mechanic, though?
So.
Well, sure. For a class that's front loaded, it's a little more difficult for a class that's rage generating, who's now having to say, okay, well, let me dump my rage into a defensive versus, getting threat. So it's definitely a decision there to make.
Okay. All right. Second point. Tank damage intake should be steady and not too fast. Fail or pass? Fail. Okay.
That's got to be the biggest fail on there because we're saying it's people dying instantly, not it's too much on the healer.
Well, and it's the tanks or the boss fights again I think of, right?
Yeah, the tank busters are silly.
Yeah.
Some of them, like Dawnbreaker, the first boss.
Yeah.
And
or
the
Edna
first
again.
Edna, the first tick of Edna is just a tank buster.
I think they need to come back to testing our resource management more than how much health and how much damage can we do. Can you spend your mana efficiently and make it through the fight? That's a big thing in just single player.
Okay.
Classic.
But wouldn't that be supporting the idea? Now, again, I don't think they successfully did it, but that it should be steady, not too fast, meaning that I'm not losing all my mana because the tank is going yo-yoing 100 to 10, 100 to 10. But instead, they're just constantly taking damage and I'm constantly having to feed my mana into that, right? But that's
efficiently feeding your mana into it, I think. And not even just the healers. I mean, the damage, everyone should be, I think, a little more aware of their resources. Is that more fun? Depends on the player, I guess.
Well, I know it's not fun to have to sit and drink water after every pull, of course, but
that's true. I think out of combat regen should be much, and I've said this before on podcasts.
Yeah, you complained about it with your disc, yeah.
Well, it's for that reason too. But yeah, out of combat, health and mana regen should be faster, especially when in a Mythic Plus. Okay. And you're timed. But
so for the most part, still a no. This is a thumbs down.
I think that one's more of a thumbs down than the first one. Because if they are dying more often, it's because of one-shot type mechanics. Or
I'm willing to give the first one a check mark with an asterisk because aside from those like random, fucking ultra one shots, whatever, that would, again, mostly on trash, really, because the second part is where the bosses come in. But this one right here, like, again, the third boss of Stone Vault, right? The 2-person council, right? The ones with the cannons and the they jump around in the boxes, right? I feel as a tank, I'm always under immense amount of pressure for the amount of damage I'm taking, because one, the AoE is like crazy, and then there's the tank buster from the big chick that will be like constantly hitting me in the middle of massive amounts of AoE, right? And so like I can get killed by that, and it's that I'm not going to blame the healer because they've got their hands full with some immense amount of AoE that's going out. So like, that's a little too much of damage intake for me. On the trash though, I don't think there's ever really been a trash pull that, as I've healed a miss and Tech, you've healed on Technique, where I feel like the tank is taking too much damage that I can't keep up with it. It's usually like an AoE problem that is like people are getting blipped here and there.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely pulls I see that are typical and like 12s, like in Grimbatol after the second boss. People pull that whole freaking room right afterwards, and like that one is just like, oh boy, this all depends on if the tank dies or not.
Yes, but in fairness, that is a risk-reward situation. They don't have to do that, right? That's their decision to say, if I survive this will be a big win, right?
It's pretty much entirely on healer needs to pop big coolies, DPS needs a kick, and tank needs to stay alive for the love of God, or this is going to be a failure, And it's like in those higher keys, you're expected to make these big, giant trash pulls. Like in Necrotic Wake at the beginning also, it's like if you can't handle like all the big AoE and running your defensives, it's like you're not going to make the time. So, I definitely see that.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3, tanks still have a strong answer to threats of periods of danger, but less sustained self-healing. Now, Prop Paladin started out shit because of the self-healing problem they wanted to solve for. They did buff it pretty substantially, enough at least to bring Prop Paladin into the meta. It does feel better for me, but it also feels random for me, because sometimes it does like a ton of healing and sometimes it does no healing. Now, granted, that just might be because I'm taking a hit while I heal and I just don't notice it. But then, of course, there's blood DKs. They're not anywhere close to meta right now. Monks
every time I run... Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, monks are just non-existent in the, the super high keys.
No, I just did a 12 with a monk. It was awesome.
I'm not...
No, but let me say the blood thing. I will say every time I run with a blood DK, I want to puke the whole time, and I'm not even healing him.
Yes, but in fairness, they're also doing a fuck ton of self-healing. Like they beat the healer sometimes.
I just hate it. It gives you so much anxiety, man.
But anyways, do you think that tanks Technique have an answer to all threats or periods of danger? So again, Edna or Skarmorak or Dawnbreaker.
Speaking for Prot Warrior, I feel like we have a lot of really good answers for all that stuff. If whether it's big or small, Ignore Pain or Spell Reflect, or if you have the right talents, it's Avatar and double shield walls. It's for Prot Warriors. I think it's fine. I think they did do a really good job.
But I feel like for the Vengeance Demon Hunters, and maybe even some, like again, Brew is getting deleted, and they don't have enough to, like, the way that their stagger works and all that stuff. It just doesn't work well in this kind of environment,
Well, that might be because a lot of audience, I don't play Brew. I'm not good with Brew. I think that maybe
oh, got him.
I think maybe they don't stack, like maybe everyone's going for damage to the point where like maybe they should just get some versatility, and maybe they are. I don't fucking know. But, like maybe it's a bad design on them. But
okay, well,
I've always loved the idea of South Shore Guard Elite detected, where
Technique, stop.
He's playing hardcore. He's playing hardcore. He's gonna get himself killed live on the. This is the only reason I agreed to let him or encourage him to play while he was on the podcast.
I didn't know we were allowed to play. Have you played?
What do you mean? I literally told you could do it because I wanted it to be live when you died.
I'd probably be so quiet. That would have made a short episode for sure.
I was gonna say that would make a lot of people happy too.
I know.
So I think this is maybe, in my opinion, the biggest miss, because it seems like the tanks that have all those answers, so the Prot, the Druids, Prot Warrior and Prot Pal, are thriving in this environment. And while it is okay that you can see, Blood and Vengeance and monks do 12s, they're not nearly as represented in the top end of the keys, right? Which is where things will get really chaotic.
Like, I've built the Prot Warrior to be as defensive as possible, as opposed to Dragonflight, where everything was, how much damage can I do? So it's interesting. I feel like they have one in that regard, and I feel like we've talked about, the trinkets and stuff not being super great. I think when some good trinkets come out that fit really well for these other classes, it might change the game. Because all they need is one good filler for when their other shit's not up.
Yeah.
Or one good proc, like a cheat death or something type of trinket.
Yeah, but don't you think that'll only further push warriors and Prot Paladins ahead? Or like, we go back to the question we had of last week,
having
where it's
more
like
defenses.
Class specific.
I don't think so.
Okay.
If they're surviving and they're doing 30% more damage than a warrior, but still alive, like, why would you take a warrior anymore?
All right. Healer gameplay should not be dominated by tank healing. Now,
I agree.
You agree that they successfully done that?
I agree that. Well, yeah, true. I agree that that's what it should be.
He's clearly not paying attention anymore.
I mean, I can't speak to it. I can only speak on the observational side, so I don't know.
Do you have you ever noticed that when you see a healer, because like I've heard Lithian and I've heard other tanks complain that the healer's not healing them and that they're getting it's more scary for them, but I don't think I've ever noticed like a key going sideways as a result of that, and I do feel like, so when I heal, it's so rare that the tank dies, and if it is, it's because one of those examples where you said like we've done something wrong, and it's otherwise like all the DPS that I need to worry about. So for example, not the first boss necessarily, the 3 spiders in Arakara where they have the second one in the middle island where she'll do that scream that like literally erases everyone's health almost immediately.
Oh yeah. The Call the Brood.
I never am looking at the tank's health there. It's always...
tank can take care of himself. It's his DPS.
Usually.
Yeah, when it's an effect like that, I agree.
But, and that's obviously an extreme example. But even things like the last boss of Arakara, the one with the poison puddles that fly out, and you don't want to get sucked in. When those poison puddles come out, again, I'm not even thinking about the tank. I'm always thinking about the DPS. That is where my priority lies, to keeping those people alive. I do feel like they did a good job of this, but I also feel like it wasn't really ever a problem to begin with.
I don't think it was. When? Maybe in Shadowlands. I don't know.
I don't even know then. Shawnee, I know you haven't healed in a while, but have you caught any of that?
Yeah, I always felt like it was definitely always DPS were more the problem than the tank, for that reason of DPS had less to like deal with it overall on most specs. So like if there was big stuff coming out, you would assume, I was always like, the tank should be ready for this, where the DPS might not have something for it.
Yeah. All right.
I think go back to the question though. The question is like, the tank healing shouldn't be outshining the healer's healing. Is that what the question is?
No.
So, none of these are questions either, but
yeah, whatever.
You know what I mean, man. The problem we're trying to
healer
solve.
gameplay should not be dominated by tank healing.
Right. So healers should be doing more healing than tanks. Is that what?
No.
Oh
They should be healing other
than the
things, not so much the tank. Which I feel like is counterintuitive to tanks will take more damage overall, right? Like, I just don't think this was ever a problem.
I think there's 2 ways to interpret the statement, because
there's
tank
one way to
healing could
interpret.
be the healing the tank is doing, or the healing the tank is
by tank
by the healer.
It's
healing the
clarified.
Healers play a critical role in keeping tanks alive as part of what they bring to the table. However, healers contribute to the success of the group in many ways, especially in dungeons. They sustain the group, dispel harmful effects, and respond to burst damage, all while doing mechanics. Tank healing should not be demanded so much that it interferes with their other roles.
Okay.
It may take some iteration to get the balance right on this, where heroes feel essential to tank survival, but with their
I think it
attention
takes a few more iterations to get the balance right, is what I think my answer will be then.
But
you need a few more iterations.
I don't think he's here with us.
He's not listening.
He
has no idea.
I'm right here.
Last point. Tank gameplay should not. And this was a huge one. This was a big. This was a big cry that was happening in the beta and the pre-season 1. Tank gameplay should not be significantly change or require actions like kiting to survive.
I can speak to this a little bit as a non-tank, but just observationally, I haven't seen like any points in dungeons where tanks are expected to kite, unless it's like in Stone Vault where those ads are specifically like you can only take so many stacks of them.
Debuffs,
yeah, stacking debuffs, which I feel like kiting has always been a part of the tank's toolkit. You know, like you have to know when.
I don't even know what you're talking about. What debuff?
And in Stone Vault, there's these ads that do a stacking debuff before the council boss. Yeah, and then there's also a spot
that just goes to show though that I don't even know that, and I wasn't ever worried about cutting them on my paladin.
City of Threads.
The DPS is strong enough, it's not a problem.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, on a hierarchy, you definitely see it because they have to be taken down quickly.
I'm doing 11 scrap. Thank you very much.
Okay, impressive. After the second boss, the tanks want to make big pulls there because it's like that's where you can get a lot of percent really fast, and I think there is a stacking debuff there as well that I've seen tanks have to kite. And then when the tank dies, I have to kite. So to try to get back to him.
There's 2 places that I can think about that have the stacking
Those are the 2
debuff,
I think
and
of.
that's. Did you say COT?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He's not here with us.
Like, nobody has ever.
He is not here with us.
No, yeah. Those are the 2 places I can think, and I don't think that's like you said on 11. You don't necessarily have to do it. It's kind of more min-maxy. You want to make a big pull there. It might not go down as fast.
Can you even dispel the one in Stone Vault?
I don't think you can dispel either of those.
I know you can't do the COT one. Okay. Well, anyways, point is this. I've heard from, and again, this is from the top end community, they have different problems than we do. But I don't feel like in the past when they made these significant changes, they usually had to revert them in season 2 or even sooner than that, right? They go like, oh shit, I think BFA was an example of one where they, or even actually Shadowlands, they did the same because kiting was such a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to have to undo what they did, though. I don't think this was a huge failure. I don't even think it was a failure at all. I mean, there's some things where I question it, like, well, hold on. There's dying to the most random literally half a second I'm into the pool and it's dead. That should never happen, of course.
Never.
But other than bosses, tank damage intake is steady. And again, even the boss mechanics, some of them are actually like good mechanics, like the Edna one. They will have strong answers. It seems like half the specs are succeeding in this, the other half maybe not so much. But again, they can do really high-end keys, so it's not that bad. Healer gameplay should not be dominated by tank healing. It never was, in my opinion. I'm not sure where that came from. And then, of course, we're not kiting near as much, if at all. Of course,
there's
except
very
for
little kiting.
If the mechanics call for it, which is a specific reason why they put the mechanics in, right?
Yeah. And it's not even like you have to kite very far. It's like a huge deal. It's just like this is where you kite sometimes.
And arguably, like, if that's what the debuff is intending you to do, is like, okay, in this pool you will have to kite because we want you to have that kind of gameplay experience. I'm not opposed to that. Like, okay, this is the one pull I'm going to kite because the other pull I have to dispel or whatever.
I agree.
So overall, did they fuck up or was this okay? Were these changes successful?
I think it's okay, and I think the last point drives that home is that there isn't consistent, at least in a 12-11 level, there isn't consistent parts where tanks just have to kite or die. So they're able to keep themselves up. Maybe it is harder on tanks, and we're not seeing as many tanks playing because it's too much responsibility. It's too difficult. Like the difficulty level has spiked a bit. But I mean, Technique, his summary was like, oh, I have to like not focus on my DPS and I have to roll my defensives more. Like he plays in defensive stance and not battle stance or whatever. It's like, okay, well, you should do that. Yeah. Like your job is to stay alive and to like lead the pack. Like you got to know the route and stuff. Tank has a lot of responsibility, but your main job in the pack is to stay alive. So you should be doing that instead of focusing on DPS rotation. Let everybody else focus on DPS rotation.
That goes for the hunters too, Scrap.
Well, I see. Thank you.
She just misdirects me, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. No, Hunter, I'm really happy with how tanky Hunter is this season. I am obsessed with that. But yeah, no, I think it's in a good enough place that they don't have to kite all the time. So there you
go. So I don't watch a lot of the big boy streamers and stuff, but are any of the 15, 17 keys, are the tanks like kiting big poles?
I haven't seen anything, no.
I think so.
I also haven't heard them complain about it like that either.
In MDI, they pull
I think they did
the
fine.
whole, necrotic wake up to the first boss. They
yeah, but MDI, they're doing 9s and 10s and shit, so that's not...
That's not fair. 9s and 10s is what most people are playing at,
I agree.
Right?
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is that you're not going to see that problem for them in that key level. It is the inverse. It's the great push style that they will have that problem in. And we will have the great push, I think, next month, January. So we'll be able to maybe see a bigger result of that. Now, that being said, though, I think a big reason why they wanted to make this change anyways was because they didn't want tanks soloing all the bosses when things went wrong, right?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't really happen as much anymore.
Not nearly as
much, yeah.
No, but
there's definitely a couple bosses you can get down.
The last boss of Arakar, I've seen people be able to survive it, but I've also seen where it can get overwhelming and they're not guaranteed to be able to solo it, right?
Certainly not guaranteed, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Arakar for everybody, though, because there's been times when the healer's down and I can just able to, self-heal, dispel myself of the poison, and stay up a good long time without a healer. There's not a lot of raid healing in that fight if you can get rid of the poison.
Yeah.
So people can stay alive without a healer for a long time.
Unless they all get sucked in. God, it's astonishing how many people still get sucked in.
But the healer cannot help you with that.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
Okay, Shawnee, I know we talked about tanks. I know we talked about healers, and you say F all that.
Yeah.
I'll take a second quick to talk about what our next season plan is. All right. Now, for those who haven't heard already, Scrap, you've been cooking on this for a minute. You are planning to play a fire mage next season.
Before Shawnee leads in his part of the game. Although Shawnee wasn't even there, how could he lead in?
Why is Shawnee I'm the one leading into this.
No, I'm leading into this. Okay, this is how it started, audience.
Yep.
Is me and Phoenix I've been pushing a lot of keys with. He's a shaman. We're very competitive.
Catching these strays.
We're always making dumb games and stuff, dumb competitions, just pissing contests left and right? So I don't remember how it came up, but there was a pissing contest laid out of I bet that I could just pick up a random
I know how it got pulled up. You guys continuously bicker back and forth about who's being buffed, who's being nerfed, right?
Yeah.
He's playing Ally Shaman, you're playing Serve, and they're both getting, good attention, especially going into later parts of the season. And the idea was, well, you guys aren't on a level playing field, so Phoenix said, well, next season, let's be a level playing field.
Yeah, and let's pick something we've never played before, and we spin a wheel. Yeah, we've never mained, basically. And I haven't mained a lot of DPS. So I had a lot available to me. We vetoed one, whatever, we rolled the thing, we got Fire Mage. So that's going to be a steep difference from my, just Drinky Bird specs that I love to play. And so I was like, okay, bet, I'll make a Fire Mage, level it, and then, we'll see who can get the higher score by the end of the season on our Fire Mages. As our alts. This is a side project.
Here we go.
No,
this is our alts. We're going to push the highest IO possible as our alts.
As Phoenix, it started out as an alt game.
I want to point this out. I want to point this out, viewer. We've talked about this probably for 3 to 4 weeks now. And at no point has the word alt come up until tonight. Oh my God,
I need Phoenix. I need to bring him in here.
He can get into the comments. I will pin it to the top so everyone can see it when he says.
I'll find it. I'll find
no.
It
I'm not going to waste my time trying to beat Scrap on an alt.
No, it was literally a side project game sort of thing. And at the time, everybody poo-pooed it. Everybody was like, don't talk about it, blah, blah, blah. You guys are being annoying.
Wait, whoa.
Dude, when we picked... It was in the raid when we were talking about it, and we literally got kicked out of the channel because we were talking about it so much.
That's because you guys were sucking each other off so goddamn much. We needed to pay attention to the raid.
DPS mains, that's what we do.
Shoddy.
At what point did I poo-poo it?
I don't think you were there because it was a raid night. But
you know what? You collectively, people need to stop using y'all in my presence. Because every time I hear y'all and I bring up me, they're like, well, not you. But yeah, I'm over here catching more strays than 50 Cent on a street corner.
Anyways, I'm gonna try to speed this up because I don't want this to be a 2-hour episode.
Speed this up. Basically, I say I'm doing this Fire Mage thing. Everybody's like, we want in on the game, and I was like, okay, play Fire Mage. And they're like, no, we'll do a different game.
Oh my
God.
God.
Go on, Frank. You tell the rest of the story.
So, Lithian and I, Lithian's our tank for E-Team, okay? We're talking, and so the reason why I came into this whole fold was one of the criticisms of the podcast is we don't have a healer represented on the podcast. Now, that said, Heckneek and I both heal Heckneek a lot more now. Okay.
Not well.
Heckneek, are you dying?
No. There's a mage who thinks he's hot shit, and he's AoE pulling all these human farmers.
Yeah, we saw a guy die there the other day.
I kind of want to go in, challenging shout, fuck up his pull.
Don't do that technique. We saw a guy fucking die there the other day.
Anyway,
sorry.
Crazy.
Sorry.
The feedback we've gotten was we don't have a healer perspective on the show. I was going to switch to heal, right? But then I also thought, well, we're also getting a lot of feedback on the idea of meta versus not meta, and that for non-meta, going back to this warrior as an example that we were talking about earlier, non-meta has so much harder of a time, doing keys and or getting into keys. Well, right now, Fire Mage is not meta, right?
Yeah,
correct.
And so I was like, okay, well, Scrap's already going to play Fire Mage because she said apparently it was not her alt. It was her main, but I guess now it's her alt.
I reserve the right to also decide I don't want to.
That's true. You do reserve. We're not holding you to contract here. You're right. Yeah. But
this is my fun game that I wanted to.
Then Lithia and I were talking. Well, it's like, okay, well, what if I heal and I'll play a non-meta heal, which I was going to play Miss because I like Miss a lot, and it is not meta. But then Lithian's like, well, hold on, I'll spin the wheel, right? Just like Scrap did. So he spun the wheel. And he got Prop Paladin, which he doesn't like. Now, Prop Paladin isn't meta, but we did talk about maybe him switching to like Brewmaster, which is definitely not meta right now.
Yeah, but he's played Brewmaster, so
yeah, I know. But that's for your competition that matters, not for ours.
That's the problem. We mixed up our competitions.
No, you did. We didn't. Anyways, so I said, okay, well, I'll spin the wheel. I got fucking Disc Priest, which I fucking hate.
Hold on. You went Prez Evoker first.
No, I know, but I vetoed Prez. You vetoed too. Yeah. Fuck off. Anyways.
You have to veto before you roll it.
Oh, I didn't know that rule. I didn't know that rule, but I would have vetoed it. Scout's Honor. Anyways, so I got Disc Priest, which is the second fucking worst healer in my opinion. I've been playing it leveling up. I fucking hate it so goddamn much, right? But I don't know if we'll talk about whether I'm sticking to Disc or not, because I might switch to Holy, which is definitely not meta right now. And then Shawnee, you came back, so you didn't hear any of this because you were out of town. You came back and spun the wheel, and what did you land on?
Arms Warrior.
Right, definitely not meta.
Definitely
That's
not
still
something
good
I've ever
and fun
played.
though.
I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to play.
I think going from Paladin to Arms Warrior is gonna not feel too different.
Maybe.
Like
I don't know.
But you also said, Shawnee, you do whatever the group needed, right?
Yeah. I just thought it'd be fun to do.
Well,
I need a little.
Certainly doesn't need an Arms Warrior.
Yeah, it does.
We need our rallying cry.
Putting a bow on this, like the whole plan is, we will have a better healer representation. We will have a more non-meta representation, going into next season, hopefully, unless Scrap fucking bails.
I might bail. I don't know. I might not like it.
You need to start working on that now, though, right? Like, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for.
No, I have to die in hardcore first. I'm hardcore pilled. So, like, once I die in hardcore, the mage is hitting.
Stay tuned for that. And by the way, Scrap, we need to do a much better job, Shawnee, you too, of keeping our tier list for pugs going, because
I have it. It's all up here.
Exhausting. You are fucking exhausting.
I'm exhausted
okay,
myself.
You ready to move on to our main story?
Oh my god, yes. We're already an hour in.
So, yeah, it's okay. I mean, an hour and a half episode's not terrible. So we're definitely not hitting an hour and a half. So let's put a little prequel to, or prequel. No, I don't know. I know. Prelude to this story, okay? Lithian, our tank for E-Team, has been working on an add-on that I have thoroughly supported him doing, okay? It's kind of like a social score for WoW, where if you leave a group, this add-on would record you bailing on a group early, right? And what we're really trying to do was to support the claim of what is effectively being called my racism, of which servers are absolute shit to play with. All right. And I was like, okay, yes, I want data to prove me right that these servers are the absolute fucking worst. And so we're talking about this add-on. He's building it. He's, getting it going. And not 3 days later, do we see this blue post. All right, Shawnee, I don't know if you've seen this yet. Have you heard anything about this?
Didn't read the post, but I did see, yes.
Shawnee, you're a messy bitch like me. You're going to love this.
Yeah,
you're going to love what comes next, okay? So today we issued gameplay suspensions to players who intentionally left Mythic Plus groups a great many times in the War Within Season 1. This sort of behavior we actioned was either without regard for the experience of their fellow players, or in some cases, even deliberately intending to harm others' experiences. This is detrimental. We continue to witness, and abandoning runs will happen. Players can experience unexpected real-life emergencies, internet outages, and group collectively deciding to quit the run. But today we suspended players who repeatedly and recklessly disrupted Mythic Plus groups, okay? So, all that being said, this panic starts arising, right? I think this is actually even before, reset. So, everyone's like, oh, did I get banned? Because immediately you're thinking, well, I have left groups, right? And Scrap, you and I have joked before, we're not going to be that person.
I mean, I try to never be the first person to leave, but, Puggy, a lot of 12s, most of them, if you're not going to time it, you leave. Unless you're at the last boss, there's no point in playing it through.
Okay, so
it's a great con. It's not like there's somebody rage quits. I feel like most of my experiences with a whiffed 12, everybody agrees, GG, put GG in the chat, sorry, nice try, and then leaves collectively.
We'll talk about what that should look like in a second, because a lot of this is also, well, Blizzard, you're not really setting everyone up to win in this scenario, okay?
Yeah, I think they should do like a thumbs up, thumbs down at the end of the dungeon.
There's tons of games like Dota, for example, that have stuff like that.
But apparently people are so consistently egregiously being the first person to leave that they could step in. They had enough data to step in on these people.
How many times? So I read this and I was being, I think, very reasonable in my sense that I've left keys, not really toxically, but there's a point where we're on the second boss, we've died 4 times. I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, it's just not happening, right? And
you always say something though, right?
Yeah,
you never
exactly. I never just leave, right? I did not fear for my safety in this, right?
Yeah. I almost never leave first also, so.
But how many times have we been in groups where it's not even like a 12, it's like a 10 or maybe even lower when we were doing lower keys, where we do the first pull, it's Necrotic Wake, we burn hero, and everyone's fucking around and deaths are flying left and right. And of course, we've got all the fucking time in the world to finish the key, right? To get the completion, time it, all that stuff. And of course, there's that one person, usually a demon hunter, who fucking quits immediately and doesn't say anything or just says, y'all are trash, can't believe it, despite the fact that he died twice or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we've been there, right, Shawnee? You've been there?
Yeah.
Nope. not as much as us, apparently.
Not as much, I'd say, but yeah, I definitely didn't. We do a key, Frank, where someone's like, "That's your 2," and then they just pieced, and we joked about it after,
your 2 deaths or whatever.
Yeah, someone's like, "Yeah, we wiped 2 times, I'm out," and then our joke for the next healer was
funny.
"Dude,
how many chances do we get?"
Yeah, yeah.
It happens.
I don't even think those people, because if they do it once, they're not going to get banned either, right?
No, I think it's habitual. If they can go in and see enough data of I'm sure they can look at enough stuff that.
Oh, don't worry, Shawnee. We have one person who has been famously called out on it, but
you're gonna love this, Shawnee.
Move
on to the next story. We all know this happens.
So, that being said, I read this and I thought, dude, they're probably banning 10 people, right? And they're just they're kind of not showboating. What's the word? Where they're being very boisterous to say look what we're doing. So they're making an example
out of these 10 people. Yeah.
But
scare people.
When this came out at the time for a week, not even a week, probably a couple days, nothing. Everyone was just like, "Did you get banned?" No one was claiming that they got banned, which is surprising because usually you see people complain about it the second it hits Twitter.
Please tell me it's Asmongold.
No. No. But that being said, before we go on to the story, I wanted to ask you guys, why hasn't Blizzard put in a system to allow people to kind of claim what they want out of the group? For example, completion versus timing, or a GG button.
Oh, GG button they need, but they do. I mean, you put it in the title, completion, time.
Yeah, that doesn't determine.
But it doesn't penalize someone if they don't stay for completion.
Right.
That's true, but I mean, that's within reason, right? Like, but yeah, no, I think there should be like a GG button where like everybody votes GG and stuff, and you don't get it penalized. And if you leave prematurely, you get like a like when you leave a battleground, like a 15-minute debuff, so you're just not just like slamming people's keys into the
15
ground.
minutes isn't long enough because a lot of people are gonna fucking like log off, fucking
get lunch.
I think you should get a 15-minute wait or whatever the time limit is, like in queue. Like you pop into queue, you cannot join for 15 minutes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was 15
saying.
minutes. You cannot join the queue. You just don't get to see it for 15 minutes.
Well, yeah, but like what people are gonna do is gonna be like they're gonna flip the people the bird, leave the dungeon, go and make a meal, come back and queue again.
But how many times can you do that? They're not gonna
It might ramp up.
Bro, I can eat a lot of meals. No,
I really think that
we'll have an example for you, Technique, where you can see what your plan would have in action for this individual. But like I think there needs to be something, because I don't want Blizzard to go through and ban people, because that's like kind of like a blind, oh, I didn't know I was in trouble thing, right?
Yeah, there has to be a warning of some
sort.
I
want to see something in game. Now, again, I also feel like the game should say like, this is what I want out of the key, timing versus completion. And if the person if let's say we queue for timing, there still needs to be maybe a penalty if you leave within like the first 10 minutes or something, right?
It's easy, dude. It's easy. Dota's already done it. It's an MMR.
Hold
on your
Dota
character.
Dota 1 had it, but Dota 2 doesn't have it, where you can forfeit a game too, right?
Okay. Yeah. But either way, at the end of the game, you basically get a vote from each player, a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and you have a hidden MMR that says I'm an asshole or I'm not an asshole. Basically.
But what is that? If it's hidden, what good does it do anyone?
Well, it's hidden in the sense that it's like a number, obviously, but you don't get to see the number. But you would be able to see, like, hey, you have a bad history. Like you're approaching, you're nearing asshole status according to your peers.
Yeah, but does that
does that just only shows people? You that? I bet people would try to get as high as possible.
Yeah.
Not speaking from experience, of course. Not speaking from experience.
No, because when you're an asshole, now you have to play with, like, you have to queue, like, let's say you can't queue for a 10 or above because you're an asshole.
Yeah, but that's really, your score can get affected by a lot of things.
Yeah, and also people could troll you.
The asshole score, no, the asshole score is based on the community.
You can definitely be a not asshole and go in and maybe be not as good. And
that's not how it works.
Here's a story from Dorky.
Give you a thumbs up.
Here's a story from Dorky about someone being so petty, right? He was running a Plaguefall, I think it was, and there was a demon hunter who wanted PI. He was on his blood DK, and blood DKs were stupid good at that time. So, like, his friend, who was the priest, was going to PI him, and the demon hunter goes, "No, PI me." And so Dorky says, if you can beat me on the boss DPS, you can have PI. Well, he doesn't beat Dorky, right? Dorky's a fucking great player. The demon hunter gets so pissy. It was the demon hunter's key. He gets so pissy, he just stops engaging with the key, right? Well, they were doing
that's self-punishment.
I know. Key. No, but that's the thing. They were going to time the key anyways without him, right? Because, again, funny. Dorky's a really good player and he has good friends and all this shit, right?
Yeah.
But what the demon hunter does to fuck with everyone, and granted, imagine if they had a social score system in this, is because he was the group leader, he could kick everyone from the group so they could no longer complete the key, despite the fact that they were about to finish the key and time it, right?
That is such a rare scenario. I mean, I plug a lot of fucking keys, and I feel like
it is
one every 40 I see somebody like that. No,
but imagine with an ability to just click a thumbs up, thumbs down, how easy that would be, right? You have that one person who you timed the key, your DP was amazing, the tank was doing an amazing job, but because they were being pissy about something, which we see frequently enough that it's like memorable, that they would start downvoting every single person in the group. Would that be necessarily the answer to the solution? I don't think so.
My personal opinion is that's too heavy of a hand. Like, there's all kinds of things that you as a player can do to curate your game experience. Like you run with people you like, put them on your friends list, you know, so you can run with them again. Ask them to go again. You run with somebody you don't like, don't run with them ever again. I know people who keep like a list.
You can ignore them too,
or ignore them. Yeah. No, I was like in the higher keys. There's smaller communities. Like I was trying to run 12s like really early in the season, and there was at one point I think I got my hands on a 13 and like did a group, and somebody came in queue, and this other pug I had was like, don't invite that guy, he just whiffed my last key. Like it's such a small community as you get higher
I don't think that
your reputation
it's that small though, because it's just like, yeah, they were queuing for keys at the same time. It just was like,
oh yeah, but even so, it's like if you're that big of an asshole, like I'm gonna remember your name, you know. So I do think it self curates. I
maybe at the super high level, but I don't think 13s is that level.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, this must be happening. This bad behavior must be happening in keys that I'm not in, like lower keys. We always talked about how like 8s are the most toxic keys in the whole fucking planet. Like it's a very weird balance. Whereas like in 12s, I'm having very positive experiences. Like everybody says, "GG, nice try," even if it wasn't a nice try.
Yeah.
You know, like
it is surprising how 8s just have like this level of people who just think that they need.
Yeah, to bring it back to the story, I feel like I must be kind of out of touch with the community because they were able to get enough data on some people to say these people are consistently like ruining people's experiences.
Yeah.
Enough to create data and create
the rumor was that some people would be on alts, like, and they would like, you know, they'd get rejected from a key. And so they'd get on their main, who is like, you know, super high IO or whatever, join that key. And then the second they put the key and say, you didn't take my alt, leave, and then fuck the key over, right?
Yeah, they're just being Joker. Like, those guys should be banned. You know,
well, hold on.
Come on.
I think we all agree all these people should be banned if they're doing it at a click that is high enough to warrant.
If they have the data, yeah, and move on to the next part, because that's the fun part.
Okay. So I say all that because I wanted to know what the solution is. I think there should be some sort of system of, not necessarily an MMR, but like, there should be definitely penalties for leaving, and there should be also a way for you to protect your key from these people, right? So, for example, I don't like the people who leave 2 pulls in. Okay, it sucks, but like at least they didn't waste my time. What drives me fucking bananas is like, especially on a Monday where I'm trying to get my last vault slot filled in, and I'm doing a 10. We're like, yeah, we wiped on the last boss, and we're not going to time it. But we are literally like just 2 minutes away from finishing the whole key.
Oh, and leaving the last boss. The tank's
like, oh, well, we're not timing it. Dude, motherfucker, we just spent 45 minutes. Just go. Like, finish this up for fuck's sake, right?
You should get double negative score if you leave on the last boss. Like, that is the worst.
After one wipe, you know?
After one wipe, yeah. 2 wipes and you can go.
Anyways, I'm curious to see, you know, I've heard some good examples on like the Bench podcast and stuff like that. So go listen to that if not. But, Scrap, you wanted some tea. Let's talk tea, okay?
Tell the story. It's so funny.
I was on Twitter and someone was just saying like, LOL, we found someone who got banned. Okay. So that's the you know, and they linked to this article. Okay. So this is on the WoW forums. Okay. A guy named Iasun, right, puts a post up that says, never been silenced or suspended or banned. So I've never been suspended or banned ever. All of a sudden this new rollout, I got suspended for 7 days. Is this normal? I thought you get like a silence or some kind of warning before suspension. I don't know, but everyone says you shouldn't be suspended for first offense, okay? So a lot of people are like, what did you do? And hey, you know, like some things can be an immediate suspension based on the severity of it. Like, oh, what happened, right? And then, of course, someone called out, well, this is what happened today. Today we're issuing gameplay suspensions for people who left Mythic Plus. And then everyone's like, well, you can appeal, right? And here's how you appeal. So he responds, yeah, I know they won't change, but still makes no sense that they're suspended accounts because you leave crap groups and believe pugging 14 hours a day, you get a lot of bad groups. 14-hour-a-day pugging. Just keep that in mind. But they don't seem to think so, I guess. I know one morning took 10 groups to get one to even complete on time. So one out of the 10 groups completed. So yeah, don't know what they look at, but they need to look at more than, oh, they left. They need to look at their log infos. And they see how crap these guys are. Hold on to that thought. How crap these guys or groups are. Or what they might have said, etc. And the abusive language that flies in chat when you leave a group should be looked at also. So again, the abusive language of when you leave the group. Okay?
Yeah.
How would you know?
So while I can understand your frustration, I'd urge you to appeal. Yeah, they said so this is, I guess, after post-appeal. Yeah, they said they did, but they didn't. So I know I have to wait, but I guarantee I'll be reporting every bad word, every leave, every little thing from now on. So funny they can ban player base, but can't ban all these pay site ads to funny. My bad language or English.
Yep.
But thanks for the chat. See you on the 3rd with my report button in hand. Okay.
Yeah, this guy sounds like a winner.
So I wanna pin this for a second. Now, is it more torturous that they decided to ban everyone on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving break? Is there any torture that's in that, do you think?
No, I think it's kind of arbitrary, don't you think?
No, because like that would be okay, I'm a 20-something, or hell, I'm even myself, right? Like I don't have work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay. Right? Yeah, that's fair. But they're making sure everybody else has a good Thanksgiving break by getting these people out of the queues.
It's got zero to do with what we think and more to do with like when the recurring fucking charge on your account is going to occur.
I will say, if I didn't know the rest of the story, I would kind of be on this guy's side, where I'm like, yeah, he didn't get a warning.
No. His language.
No, his language is bad. But like, if this guy's like, oh, I'm pugging 14 hours a day, I'm like, oh, maybe they're just going by amount of like left keys or something, and he's, who pugs 14 hours a day? Jesus Christ, dude, chill.
I'll tell you,
like, this guy's
people who fucking leave keys immediately because they're like, this is about me and only me.
But I could tentatively be on this guy's side at this point. Like this guy's a dick. I think
I default to his side. Like if you got banned for 7 days with no warning.
With no warning, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Done. I think you should have a warning. I've sided with that with other bans in the past, that like there needs to be some sort of way to tell people, hey, you're gonna get banned if you keep this up.
Someone pointed out somewhere in this thread though that this isn't a new policy, right?
Yeah.
This was part of the social contract, and they made a point of it last year, I think, to say,
make you sign it.
Stop leaving M+ groups. This is a problem.
That's like saying, like, be cool, man, or we'll ban you. Like, what do you mean, be cool?
If I say a racial slur, I'm going to get banned without a warning. What are you talking about?
I understand that. I don't think that's what this guy was doing, though. Or at least it didn't sound that way.
Apparently he's worried about it.
Skip ahead. Let's find out what this guy was doing.
So all this is going on, and then a GM or customer support guy, whatever, pops in, and apparently he's
GM pops in.
Apparently he's like a well-known one, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
So, or maybe it's just some troll fucking.
Yeah, they said
Twitter
they did, but they didn't. Okay, that's what his response was.
This is a Blizzard fucking guy. This is a customer support guy. Came into this dude's thread to correct him. Go on. What does he say?
They did review the matter, Iasun, and compared it to the data that our hacks team provided. I'm afraid you seem to have reached the threshold. Very nice way of saying this, by the way. I'm afraid you seem to have reached the threshold that they had for this action. Understand the number wasn't small. As they said, they understood the occasional leave, but there were scores that took the number beyond reasonable. You're welcome to appeal again. I don't know if the outcome will be any different, okay? So then here comes Iasun. So funny. Reasonable, right? Just like spoken to with a gentle, touch. Then they don't play their game to see when you play 14 hours a day and you leave 10 groups. So 14 hours a day, 10 groups. That's what? A group every 1.5 hours. Right?
Yeah, which I would say, if that is the true statistic, then you should leave those keys, because those keys shouldn't be lasting an hour. But no fucking shot.
No fucking way.
You did an hour key like 10 times, and you left all those groups. Like, brother, that did
14
not
hours a day, and you leave 10 groups that day. You're going to leave a lot more groups with the awful community that is so toxic, and players don't even know what they're doing. Expect you to stay and wipe for hours. No, not going to happen. Not with this guy. But I will make sure to report people for being bad in keys and breaking them and cursing and everything. Cursing. And everything else, because reporting is what we need to do. So reporting it is for sure. And that's all I have to say on this matter. Okay, that's all you have to say.
Fucking incredible.
Okay, so Vrakthis joins us again.
Again. The customer support guy.
Yes, they do. Now, this is in reference to the devs and the teams don't play. Yes, they do. I don't know a single developer or member of our hack team that doesn't, and the whole point is to go by the data. If you were impacted by this action, it generally means that your number, compared to others in comparable situations, was outstandingly higher. I'm sorry, Iasun. This isn't something we really can debate here, as I cannot provide the details on those thresholds, but everything we've been given indicates you were exceptionally high. Good luck to you. Now, I don't know how you could side with him based on just his language alone, because I mean, at least this response right here.
You can be a dick and unfairly banned, but the fact that the guy came in, okay, here's what I'm picturing. Is this guy's making a bit of a scene in the forums. So a dev comes in is like, oh, like, man, or like not a dev, what do you call this? This customer service
support,
team
yeah.
comes in and is like, okay, let me look at this guy's file. He goes to his little filing cabinet. I'm assuming this is how it's done. He pulls up this guy's file and he says, actually, you are a giant asshole and you were correctly banned. And like,
no, this is so much nicer than that. He was so nice in his response.
I'm reading between the lines. Just saying that, like, you were outstandingly bad at this. You specifically,
you're an outstanding asshole.
Yeah, you were an outstanding asshole. I fucking love that.
Exceptionally high.
Exceptionally high. That is so fucking funny to me.
Like, and this is exactly the delusion that these people. And again, like, I'm even happier that this guy got banned because this sentence right here.
In fact, we're just going to ban you for good.
Right? Yeah. So again, 14 hours a day, dude, come on, man. Like, I wish he said what number key he was doing, because like I have a feeling it's like 9s.
It's an 8.
Wait, can I add something?
Yeah.
So I've been doing some sleuthing.
Did you find
what's his IO? Yeah.
So I got his IO is 2717.
Okay. So he's doing 11s and 12s.
11s, yeah.
He's not even timed a 12. His best 11, he has two 11s that he double, you know.
Are you looking at my IO or this guy we're talking about?
And he's timed 44 plus 10s.
I'm gonna pull it up in a second.
So he's been playing for 4 days according to his timeline.
Yeah.
Well, no, you haven't.
That guy incomplete. Yeah, that guy there.
Dude, Storm Rage, by the way.
Yeah, I probably know him.
Dude, is a sleeper shitter.
Is that a picture of him?
No, this is not.
So looking at
your exact score technique.
So looking at this though, so he says he plays 14 hours a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scrap, who I know plays a fair bit. Looking at her IO.
Yeah, I play a couple hours a day. Yeah.
A couple hours a day is a bit of an understatement, but not 14.
I play like 4-ish to 5-ish hours a day, but I don't play every day.
Busiest season too, right?
Yeah, so I also play every day.
I'm looking at Scrap's score. She's timed 61 plus 10s.
Yeah, go on.
And done 74 plus 5s and 9
so similar
plus 2s.
Actually to his.
So you've done similar, but more technically timed. And like, you're not playing 14 hours a day.
No.
I don't think I've ever
Here's how I'm going to prove this.
Here's
how I'm going to prove this, okay? I'm looking at his timed keys, okay? Now, first off, just here's an example, is City of Threads. He has 1 depleted over the past, and I'm not even going to count the below 8.
Oh, he leaves. Okay, so he leaves the second it goes wrong.
No, but look, he's only timed, so within the last, let's call it week. 1 week, yeah, okay, so he has timed 111 and missed. He timed, apparently, so he's back playing already. He did the 6 minutes ago. But like within a week before that, 1 more, so he did 3 Dawnbreakers. By the way, it looks like he's targeting the easy ones. He did 1 Arakara. So okay, he's playing 14 hours a day, and out of the 4 dungeons we just checked, he's timed 6 or 7 of them, right?
Yeah.
How many keys do you think he's left? Because again, look, these are all timed with the exception of 1 or 2. And I
would assume Frank an outstanding
dude has to be leaving a ton of them.
Yeah.
Because he's not he's only getting like 1 or 2 a week timed. There's no way they're like, I wish they would show you. I wonder if he has Warcraft logs of them. No, because they wouldn't even show that anyways.
Can we title this episode "Fuck You, Iasun" or something like that?
I wish.
Like, this is so mean.
Oh my god.
But people need to hear this. If you're acting like this, you need to be shamed.
You are the worst.
You're ruining everybody else's fun. And the fact this is happening at 11 level, where already the pugging is extremely frustrating. Like,
but
you know what I would say? It's probably been not happening at just an 11. If he has this habit, he's been doing it each week as he's been trying to get higher. Like he's doing it.
Well, he's been doing mostly 11s for a while now.
But like he's done 70. He's done 71 plus 5s. Like,
all that said, to be fair, all right, we all pay to play this game, and I feel like he could at least get a explanation and a warning before the ban occurs.
Well, who knows
all
what
that
he got?
Stuff said. We all pay to play.
Did get something. I don't.
No, he didn't. No one got warned.
There's no reason why you shouldn't be like, hey, you're getting really close to being an asshole, and then like, hey, if by the way your community determines you're an asshole,
So he did get a warning. When he signed the terms of agreement, and you say you can't grease players.
Dog shit. Fuck
it's not
off
dog
with
shit.
that.
Wait, if he leaves
nobody
that
reads that shit. I scroll to the bottom.
Why
I
don't we
click
shut up
accept,
while
and
I
I keep
talk
playing.
for a second? How
Yes,
about you do that?
Okay, go on.
Technique, the terms and services of this podcast means you gotta let Shawnee talk.
Shut up, let Shawnee talk.
I'm gonna fight all of you. Look, when you sign the terms and conditions agreements for the game,
I didn't sign shit.
Oh my god.
You hit the accept button. Just like you hit the accept button to leave keys when we're not timing it. So, yeah. He accepted it, and if he's doing it that much, it looks like griefing because that's what he's doing. Like it's you're ruining everyone else's experience.
So,
and just because they don't send you a warning, it's just like they don't send a warning when they ban people for exploiting things in the game, which they've already clicked a button saying I won't exploit.
I might have a hot take here, Shawnee. Okay,
you can.
So now again, we've already referenced that if you make a racial slur, there is no warning. You get banned. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Is it more toxic to make a racial slur, or is it more toxic to be destroying keys left and right? And
we're all white, so I don't know if we can speak to that effectively.
I can speak to it effectively.
In the sense of a social out in the world.
No, I'm being facetious, of course, but like what I'm saying is like it's more like destructive, this behavior.
Look,
maybe
someone's hard to put a nail in. Like, when is it destructive? Like,
well, they made a line and he crossed it.
Yeah.
If you've gotten to this line that they never thought they would have to use, then yes, it is. But like this would be considered them like someone griefing constantly, in their opinion. That's my assumption, right? Like,
yeah,
it's no different than exploiting something that like you're like, I didn't know I couldn't exploit this, and then people get banned or they get stuff removed, and you agree to those terms when you hit the social contract.
I'm gonna add. Nobody reads the contracts. Not everybody reads the forums. It doesn't hurt to send an extra fucking.
Ignorance is not an excuse.
Yes,
sure it is.
So I will say,
Technique,
and I do think that this is a warning to the grander community. Yes. Like they didn't ban enough people that there's like the forums are crawling with people thinking they're wrongfully banned. They banned probably a couple people who are legitimately griefing keys, and this guy who just happened to be a fucking asshole outlier. So like, and he's the only one who saw fit to complain. So I mean, it's a 7-day ban. It's not that big a deal.
I still feel like your boss going on a firing rampage doesn't really make.
It's not the same thing.
It's a 7-day
thing.
It's a 7-day timeout.
Write the notes. You know,
the expectation
and really
is being set.
The better answer is still doing it.
Okay.
The way Dota does it.
You're not wrong. What's that? There's a line from
You're not wrong, you're just an asshole.
Yeah, you're not wrong, you're just an asshole. What movie is that?
The Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski. Yeah, that's how I feel. Technique is that like you're not wrong. He probably should have gotten a warning.
Man. You're just an asshole.
But it's a 7-day ban. It's not that big a deal. This guy had an exceptional outlier. I can't remember exactly what the words from the dev were. Is that you had an outstanding amount over the threshold. Like, who gives a fuck? This is hilarious. Also, that this is the customer support person. Like, this person was such an exceptional asshole that they went out of their way to tell them in front of everybody, like, hey, we actually did review your case, we did get back to you, and like, I know and you know what's going on here.
Yeah,
so
and he pushed it even further.
He pushed it
to say, I'm gonna have my ban button ready. Like, you fucking moron. You're not getting it.
Dude, I saw somebody call a healer a dog in a key once, and I didn't report that. I told everybody for weeks because it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
You loved it.
Dog?
Yeah, I called him a dog.
Sorry, hold on.
I don't want to be in your group.
Point is, right, Technique, you are technically right that a warning is a fair ask, but I also think that the target of these bans was probably such a small number, because again, to Scrap's point, you don't see this is the only instance of someone complaining about getting banned for this behavior. Yeah. And we've already clearly seen that they're delusional. Okay? So the ban didn't send them the message anyways. And by the way, they're back in the fucking wild running keys literally an hour ago.
Right now.
You know, so like fucking steer 13 minutes ago, steer clear of this fucker. Right?
Put on a sticky note. Dude, if I see this guy in Q, I want to run with him because
these poor souls right here didn't know what they were getting into, right?
Dude, he is famous to me. Yeah, pull up his logs. I want to see how much dog shit DPS he's doing. Like,
God, okay, now you're gonna get me going down a very toxic.
No. Let's close this podcast out. I think we've talked into the ground.
So
we'll do it afterwards.
The long and short of it is, I hope this is I mean, granted, we really haven't had that much problems with it, right? But we jokingly put demon hunters.
I ever leave are with you guys.
That's true, Technique.
Well, that's also because we're all looking at you going, are you going to be able to do it, my man? Like, come on.
No, usually it's because it's fucking 11:30 or 12 at night. And
you can't heal
everyone's
through the last boss.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I know the first boss in my recollection.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, so
like, I was still higher than yours. I don't know.
I just don't think that
dream big.
I just don't think that this is enough to really dissuade the people who are going to leave the keys that we see. But I also don't think it's enough of a problem. However, it was enough of a problem for us, Scrap, where we jokingly would always put demon hunters at the bottom of our tier lists because they would always be this like person that would leave on the first or second pull when something went wrong.
Yeah.
I want the people who leave at the last boss with, again, a reasonable amount of time to get the key done. Still being fucking morons.
Well, it also sucks at the first pull if it's like in a key where you have a cushy timer and like we could still time it. Like, I hate when people leave when it's still timeable. That's
no,
the most
that,
frustrating
but like
shit.
you took a big risk. You know the risk. It's not like you're surprised by this. Yeah, the risk didn't work out, but we can still get it done.
Yeah. When the demon hunter tank rolls in, face rolls, dies, and then leaves, it's like, bro, you did this to my key, and then you had the gall to fucking leave. I've seen that so many times.
Yeah,
that's so annoying.
What I think needs to happen, they need to have an automated system, but they need to have an automated system that is very careful not to punish the wrong people, right?
Yeah.
And so I love that this door has been open, and I can't wait to see what comes out of Pandora's box. Like I can't wait to see. I just hope they're consistent about it too, because God knows.
It's so interesting because the math's already out there. Like someone else is already doing it perfectly. They could just do that.
Do what perfectly?
Scoring five player teams.
Oh my goodness.
Based on their communities.
I think it's too heavy of a hand. We self-govern. It's not consistent enough of a problem.
Do you think that guy would have a score low enough with enough thumbs down to keep him out of keys?
Probably. If I was actively thumbsing up and thumbsing down people, like
especially when that score becomes visible to you before you get invited into a group.
Yeah. Well, I thought you said it would be invisible.
Well, that's different. No, it's different for Dota because you're Chinese social credit score. You're not getting invited into the party. You're getting popped into the party by the system. So it doesn't need to be visible. But in the current like Mythic Plus queuing system, I have the power to choose to invite you or not.
Okay.
The problem technique is that people are going to get thumbs down for being bad at the game, for like doing low DPS and stuff, and then you're grouping all the people who are bad with the assholes, and that's just going to create school shooters, man.
Jesus. That's not okay. Let's not get that done. Okay.
I'm saying that
we got a question of the week. Okay.
There's ways to balance all of that. You can't have people just fucking thumbs downing every person they play with.
Question of the week. Okay, this is a long one. Okay. I don't even think there's actually a question here, but I just people are trying. Okay, so we don't know if there's gonna be a season 4 in the War Within. Right now, it suggests that there may not be one. We'll see. But Kilruff from our Discord had this thesis. I'm gonna read it out, the whole thing. Okay.
Kilruff, who's a demon hunter, but we like him.
Yeah, he's one of our raiders. We love him to death. All right. Yeah. Okay, so I've been thinking about what Blizzard dev team could do for season 4, or just end the expansion season. That would allow them to have more time to develop the next expansion while also having something the players can engage with. What I've thought of is basically a choose your own adventure style and plus key creator. Okay. So basically, instead of Blizzard handing out keys, they give the players a system where they can design their own. What this could do is give Blizzard some data as to what players enjoy doing. We hear all the time that some affixes aren't fun while others are, or that some of the seasonal fixes were more fun than the others. If players could create their own keys with any affix that existed in the game, so I guess previous ones as well, that's mine, not his, then Blizzard could track those keys and see which ones are played the most. On top of creating keys with whatever fix has happened previously, Blizzard could give the players some tools to edit existing affixes and tweak the numbers or effects to create their own affixes entirely. There are plenty of players who have awful ideas and they'll make an affix and learn that it's terrible. However, there are plenty of players who could create a really interesting affix that Blizzard may have not have thought of. Once someone creates an interesting affix, it could be shared around so that others could try it, and Blizzard may find the new affix and put it into rotation in the future. Or someone may find a combo of old affixes with a few tweaks that is actually really fun, but Blizzard never had tried it out before. In addition to creating their own keys, Blizzard could add a tagging system for key creation, as well as having some sort of survey or tagging at the end of the key that all players can fill out. If someone makes a +10 with basically no fixes but buffs to the players, they can tag it as a gear farmer key. It's the last season of the expansion, so it doesn't really matter if gear acquisition is inflated. We're getting reset soon anyways, go wild. People can make chill keys, where there's only one affix or multiple fixes, but the numbers have been changed, so it's easier to handle. Yeah, okay, so just essentially more examples of that. So, I say all that first off. I think it's a great idea, Kilra. I think it's a little maybe too much for the devs to want to put the energy into, but let's kind of pull some things out that I really think are cooking. And one of the things I want to call out is, I think I brought this up in a previous podcast, was JB, who's, famous for being a great player, but also like very quick to give his opinion on things, was really angry when they did the affix changes for the War Within, because Blizzard had an opportunity in season 4 to really just like let the doors fly off and do whatever we wanted to test out this new affix system before the expansion came out. But they didn't take that opportunity. Now, part of that's because they were being stubborn on the affixes, and they waited till the last one to
figured it out yet. Yeah.
Well, no, they weren't even going to figure it out. They told the people in interviews, we're not making any changes to the affix system. But then, 2 months left in the expansion, in the beta, they're like, okay, fine, we'll do it. Yeah. But like, I think there's something really to be said about season 4 can be a sandbox where we could go absolutely crazy. So first off, I'll ask you guys, and Shawnee, you can start us. Out of what Kilra said, what systems would you say, yes, absolutely, I want to take that? What things might you say, well, that may not necessarily be reasonable to expect, because there'd be like a lot of systems you'd have to build, and that would therefore defeat the purpose of the season 4 being a, biased time season. And then, of course, any other things you guys might want to add to it. So, Shawnee, kick us off.
I just think I like the idea of doing it how they do in Great Push, where you can just build whatever key you want, go in and do it, kind of like he was getting at. I would like that, just to try crazy stuff and see what happens.
Okay.
I think everything he said I pretty much agree with, and it's season 4, no one cares. Just let people do what they want.
What about adding all the other fixes from previous, like ones that were killed off even in BFA and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Put in whenever you can get your hands on, because like it's not like they don't bring dungeons back, so why couldn't you bring back old fixes at times?
Okay. Scrap?
Well, I think it would be really fun if they could create a scoring system where it's like, if you add this affix, you'll get this many more points, and if you add this one, you get this many more points, and stuff like that, so that you could create like a key where you have the potential to get like 100 points off of this key or something like that. For a season 4, obviously not for a mainline season, but just for like a fun one. That's where I could see it being implemented in season 4. It could be really fun and funny. Now, to his point, and what Shawnee was saying, that what they have in the Great Push where you can just create your own key, I think that system should be implemented in the game as like a practice feature, where like we could just like, hey, I want a Stone Vault 12, and we're gonna run it and just try it out, and we get no score from it if we time it potentially, like try whatever affix we want, just
if it's
like
a practice key, I would say no score should be added at all, right? Like you've chosen a practice key. This is
a separate jumping off of his idea, but I think they can implement this in any season where we have like the ability to craft a key as a practice key, try to run it. Maybe there's like a mechanic that we're getting consistently stuck on, and we don't want to keep waiting until we get a Stone Vault key at a high enough level for it to be practiced on. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's just keep running this 11 Stone Vault with a specific affix until we get it right, and not have to worry about having to re-roll or find it and stuff like that. It would be a great it would be great for practicing and nailing specific things as a team. It'd also be great for what we used to run, like the games, where we want to have line up keys
for this
together.
Feature.
I know, and I feel like it wouldn't be too hard. I just feel like not enough people want it, because they already have it in the Great Push. So how hard could it be?
This is why I think they don't do it, because they're already worried about the easy dungeons like Mists and Arakara and Dawnbreaker. that if you could build your own key, no one would ever go into City of Threads, for example, unless they need it for score.
You don't get gear from this key. You don't get.
So you're just saying practice only, not for the main system. Okay.
It gives you nothing. Gives you nothing, but you can do it voluntarily. It gives you absolutely nothing.
I know that the MDI players would definitely love something like that.
Yeah, and it would be cool. You'd see so many like different strategies and different like the theory crafters would probably love that shit. I mean, you can do it on.
In fairness, those people usually have the tournament realm already because they signed.
Yeah, tournament realm. But it'd be cool. Let that be accessible to everybody at all times. To kind of play this stuff out. So,
I do agree with you though that the idea, like, because you could also sit there and say, okay, well, all your crests would only come from how many points you earned for the week, right? As opposed to what
you get no crests from it. You get nothing.
No. I'm saying let's cook on this. It's season 4, right?
Season 4. Okay,
and instead of saying if you do 8 dungeons, any 8 dungeons, so you could do like 8 Arcars, for example, right now, and still get your myth track gear. No. This is a point threshold system, right? So, for example, you maybe instead of doing like the old system of 2 regular fixes, 1 mega fix or seasonal fix, maybe you do like 3 normal fixes and 2 seasonal fixes, right? You figure out that kind of like sweet spot. And because you did that, instead of getting what would have been like 150 points worth of a key, now you have 300 points worth of a key. But in order to get your myth track vault filled, you need to hit like 5,000 points for the week or something like that, right? You need to like push a certain amount of challenge.
Make it 50,000, dude. Fuck it.
Anyways, points being arbitrary because at the end of the day, it'd be whatever they feel like is the reasonable thing. But point is though that like you would fill up your vaults, not necessarily because you'd still get like 3 spots for doing 8 dungeons, but it'd be myth track because you hit a certain difficulty level of how you built your keys. That way, you could also say, well, court is the harder key than Arakara is, so we will make court worth more points to incentivize still running it. And then again, you start like playing around with the affixes, saying, well, court's hard, but if I do court with these 2 affixes, I get more points than doing Arakara with those affixes. And, that's easier. And again, like you could encourage that kind of behavior. So I definitely think that would be fun.
Court when it is not called court.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, City of Threads.
I know what you mean.
All that stuff's really great, but I think it's most important that if someone was to do a practice key, okay, you spend all this time, you get your friends together, you go and form the key. If someone leaves, they just get banned immediately. No warning.
You're very helpful today, Technique. Go back to classic.
Yeah.
All right.
No, actually, you guys pretty much covered anything I had to add on that subject. I like Kilra's thing. I like what Shiny had to say, and Scrap pretty much was reading my mind when she added her points. Not much else to say except for my joke.
I only want to add that I never, I don't know why I never thought about it, but like I would love it if you could bring back the old affixes of the seasonals as well, right?
Yeah.
Like it would be so much fun to do.
Yeah. And
you might break it, but again, as to his point, in season 4, who cares?
Yeah.
Of like doing the
it's season 1, who cares? Nobody cares.
Another funny joke from Technique. Giving you a rim shot.
Yeah. No, but like Prideful, we have always talked about like at the lower levels was a lot of fun. But also, I can't remember what it's called, but the one where in BFA you could like create portals to like different parts of the dungeon with the bosses.
Yeah, I feel like those would be harder to code because it's like
again.
Yeah, Urs and Woos, like where do you put them? I feel like a lot of energy would have to go into adding those big ones back. Whereas I feel like quicking wouldn't be that hard.
I would even say though, like it's okay if they just kind of did like a eyeball of it and just say like, just put it there, right?
But because I don't think you can eyeball programming. I think it's more involved, right?
No, you can't eyeball programming because you just like you choose the mob.
Like, it took them 3 months to move the location of like the Dawnbreaker hitbox.
But that's not. But that coding wasn't right. The coding for who and were was they just have to select the mob they put it on.
Who and were.
I don't know enough about coding to make the determination.
I think part of the fun of adding all this bullshit to current dungeons is that it's gonna get buggy as fuck, and you're like tripping out when a spawns in the middle of your boss packers.
Yeah, it's season 4, and maybe that hilarity would be fine.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Part of the fun.
Well, another thing that Kilra said, I don't know if you read this part, but he said that the devs then would have a backdoor to see what affixes are being used the most. What are people enjoying? What are people playing? What do they like? And that could give them insight to season 1. It's like, oh, bro, we got to throw out this affix because everybody fucking hates it. You know?
Do you think it might get buried
likes
because
it for
people,
fun versus likes it for competition is different.
Still, it's information that they can take from what they want. You know, like it's not necessarily saying like it's low or high. It's they're getting info. You know.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, well. We are, so I told you guys earlier, we have a trivia episode. It'll be like our holiday special. Maybe I should put some like garland and jingle bells all over it, right? You 3 are going to be playing. We haven't decided our 4th player. Do we bring Lithian back? I
think we bring Lithian back.
Or do we invite Haywire back? Haywire doesn't want to be, I don't know. We'll talk about it. But I have a new category for this one that involves delves. It's not very challenging, but you know, it'd be fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it very much.
Is it questions?
What else would it be?
I don't want to do that.
Is there a study guide?
I did delves like this.
What form of trivia do you usually do?
I know. Yeah.
I don't know. Can I ask the question?
You go to bar trivia and they like hand you crayons and a little placemat and they say, "All right, play tic-tac-toe, have fun."
I just start doing pictograms or some shit. Like,
Frank, I do want you to be honest and pick questions that you already knew the answer to. I don't want you like looking up trivia.
So Roar is helping me. And
no, but Roar is so good at trivia because he's so young. He's got a young brain.
The thing is, he apparently hasn't played like I thought he did. But
but he has like encyclopedic.
Can I finish the fucking
like 17 alts? What are you talking about?
He and I are bouncing the questions off of each other to see if they are fair questions to ask, and if I can't answer or he can't answer it, then we will not let it in. However, there is one category which is always very challenging. They're reasonable, the questions that we ask. However, it is just the category itself that's tough. But I love that category. It's staying in, so it doesn't matter.
What's the category so you can study?
It's the one. The category is called WTF. It's the one where I give you the first letter of each word of like a phrase or something.
Oh, this is gonna be a hard trivia game.
No, that's the same exact system as last time.
I'm scared. We're gonna fail.
We're gonna have fun. We'll find out a prize that we can give out. Like maybe I'll make a trophy and we'll just send it to whoever wins each year. And mythicdungeonleague.com, our website. LOL. It's like I just have to bring it up.
And if you have suggestions for questions, maybe email them to Frank.
Well, you can email mythicdungeonleague@gmail.com.
Don't put them in the comments because I might look at them.
No, don't do that. Just email them to me.
Yeah, email them.
Or you can DM me on Discord if you join our Discord, which you can also find at the website.
Make them easy though. We're not good.
Last thoughts. I'll start. So I joined Blue Sky because apparently Twitter is fucking accessible. I feel the same way. I don't know if I should stay there.
You know me. I love my Tumblr, so I don't.
You're also a Tumblr god, though.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, I tried Twitter for a while. And it just made me upset, and then I have all these friends who are like, "Oh, we're going to Blue Sky now." I'm like, it's just gonna make me upset again. It's the same as Twitter.
It just also feels like we're just segregating the two thought processes of people who use Twitter versus now people who use Blue Sky.
Yeah,
and I don't want an echo chamber either.
Social media in general, just probably don't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's liberal truth social.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah. All right.
I don't do social media really. So.
Yeah, no. I feel like for this podcast, I need to be present in the social sphere and.
Well, by all means, if you want to do that.
I know. All right. Anyways, Johnny.
I love everyone, even when I yell at them. I still love them. Technique, I love you. I'm sorry. I raised my voice at you.
No, you were so straight up in your chair. You're like, whoa.
That was fun. I like that.
What else? I just want to say I'm gonna wear this hat for the rest of football season. Or
power ranking number 1.
Yep. It's really hope the Bills come through. I enjoyed my time in America, and I look forward to being the world's worst arms warrior next season.
Subject to
I'll
change.
be right next to you. World's worst fire rage.
You Scrap, so help me God, you better commit. Like I get it. It may not be
for
you.
Commit. I didn't say I was gonna commit.
Last word, Scrap.
There's so much pressure on me. Technique, we're gonna do BFD later.
Not tonight, later, but maybe tomorrow later. I'm 28 and a half.
Well, I'm 31. I'm out leveling it. So
you are.
Technique, last
Had
words.
to handle some business. Man, I don't know why they got to complicate the hidden MMR thing.
It's not with the hidden MMR.
It's already perfect. Yeah, no, man. It's I'm glad everyone had such a good holiday, and I'm glad to be back.
We got Christmas right
doing
ahead
the
of us,
thing.
if that's what you celebrate. All right, that is episode 31 of Around the Mage Table, the podcast for the rest of us. Next week, trivia. We look forward to seeing everyone there. Please come and play along. But until then, have a wonderful week. We'll see you then. Take care.